Hello, monkey business. Welcome to the live stream. All right, welcome everybody to another Pepakura Tuesday. Today we're continuing our journey to doom. It's a Coke in a low wine glass kind of night. Feeling good. Well, that's not true. I'm feeling exhausted, but I'm really happy to be here. Great to be here. Today, as you all know, you clicked on the thumbnail. It's just a butt. So we're going to be working on the butt. We're going to be working on the cod with the belt pieces. And I'll also kind of show off. I have been working on this kind of in the background of some of the other bigger projects that I'm working on in terms of Pepakura. And you can actually see I've got a full bicep finished up already, which actually I think turned out really nice. I think it's pretty straightforward how to build this thing, which is always really fun when you can just look at it and feel good. Good evening, Melvin. Good evening. So yeah, no, there's been other work on this. I've been working on the torso, working on other things, but today we're working on the butt because this thumbnail's a butt. So let's go ahead and go to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show off, I think this is in the 2D menu here. It's been so long since I've actually looked to see where things are in the, whether they're in like the 2D menu or the 3D menu. Oh, it's not. It's just up here. Okay, so we're going to set edge color right here. We're actually going to go to this where it says hide nearly flat edges. We're just going to ramp it all the way up until we can see all the edges. And yeah, it's a lot more complicated looking now, but I can actually see every single piece that I can define. Every single face that I would be able to break apart in the name of foam. And so, to that end, we're going to undo this unfold. I don't need anything from it. I don't need any of those lines. Now, we're going to break this down because, unlike some of our previous projects, which are all sort of one object, this project is made with a set of game rips that have been edited together by a fella by the screen name of Disc. And Disc has a lot of objects in here. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. He's done a lot of work for free, and we thank him for it. But, it's your first time watching one of my streams live. Well, it's great to have you, Orlando. Thank you very much. Like I said before, it's a Coke in a wine glass kind of night. And we're doing Pepakura. So that's that. We're just going to start off with this amorphous looking shape right here. I think the only thing going on here that we might not need is I think this edge, whoops, not there, but from about here down isn't strictly necessary. I think maybe, because it's pretty straight on until you get to like right there. Maybe if I go ahead, we'll go to edit model. We're going to swap this edge. We're going to swap this edge? Yeah, that edge. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of this one edge right here because that'll be sort of covered in the thickness of the material. But that way we can still keep this sort of bowing out that the shape does right there. Because it's got a pretty harsh bevel to it overall. As always, if anybody has any questions at all about the thing it is that I am doing right here, please feel free to ask. Because it is actually a little complicated. And I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to get better at answering questions, anticipating some questions, honestly. Just among other things, really. Let's see here. A little later in the stream, we're actually going to break from this just a little bit because I would really like to get some input on some of the models that I am looking at using for our upcoming tutorial series on Pepakura. Really trying to break down everything that you might want to know so that if people have very specific questions, they can kind of look to that as sort of a place to learn very specific concepts and maybe even just lots of general bits. Because there are some of these things. Some of these things are extremely situational, but some of them are things that I do for every single model that I use. I approach all of these to some degree or another in a similar way, even if there's a lot of case-sensitive stuff. I'm at about specify cut line edges. There we go. So that should just sort of be one piece overall. Just one piece. Bop, bop. And with that, well, let's open up another one. Object list. I actually shouldn't reduce this object list. I don't need to. Oh god, is this a pipe? This is like a tube. No, I'm not doing that. I might even delete that. Because what is that? There's just like a face right there. That's garbage. Okay, so here's what this is actually connecting to. Yeah, I think we're probably going to just wind up deleting this entirely, because this whole thing I would just make out of like a tube of foam. We probably won't end up using that. This appears to be a straight up error, so I'll fix that in a little bit. But here we go. This plate is pretty much a solid piece as well. That's not necessary, that little triangle there. This is actually a fairly clean part right here. Let's get rid of this edge all the way across here. Double clicking will sort of run it along whatever edge the program likes to try and define there. Let's see, let's go down along here. That looks pretty cool. Let's try to interpret this texture, this 3D space in 2D space, because this is kind of garbage right there. So let's see what's going on. I think this round bit is pretty important, but that seems inappropriate. I don't need that. So let's see. We'll go right around to there, right around to here. Yeah, here we go. So let's get rid of. So let's just get rid of it along there, which is a much cleaner edge, a much cleaner part. Oh, and see, this actually has sort of an intense edge that I wasn't able to see from one angle. So if we actually, there might be a sneaky cheat here. Let's swap some edges until we've got a line that runs up there. And now we just boop across to there, get rid of the rest of that. Don't even need it. In fact, I think for the most part, this is just going to be one part all the way across, which is great. God, cod pieces are hilarious. Oh no, what's going on there? It looks like a face was accidentally deleted here. Oh, that's a shame. I think to compensate for that, we'll just split this in half and make two parts. One of them, which you can just flip over. It's a quick fix for kind of a dumb little problem, but the trade-off is that you can't really get, as of right now, you can't get texture files out of Pepakura, which is a bummer. Hey, Melina! Glad to see some more people showing up. It's a coconut wine glass kind of night. We're just talking about how you can't really get texture files out of Pepakura in its current state. I have actually emailed Thomasoft about that because I think it's one of the few features the program's kind of missing that aren't just massive leaps technologically, like in terms of like the actual coding. And so this is something that this little gap right there is not something we're going to be able to fix here without a lot of work that we don't really need to be doing right now. See, here's another part that is more or less one piece, although I think on this one we'll actually want to get rid of these edges because they're so vertical. They're so 90 degrees to the actual face. It doesn't really matter that they're there. We'll get rid of those. There's nothing else going on there. Bam! Bam! See, this is the trade-off of having a lot of individual parts, is that sometimes it can slow you down, and sometimes it's so broken down it's basically unfolded already. What's everybody working on this week? It's been a whole week since we pepped. Well, since we pepped as a group. It's a big group pep. You know, has anybody been working on some big projects? Like, oh, no, Control-Z. That's not right. I love to hear what people have been working on. My little brother just came off a spring break, and he actually built 3 different sets of my templates. He built a Loki helmet, he built a tank trooper, and he built the Dragonborn helmet, the iron helmet that the Dragonborn wears in Skyrim. So he was busy recently, which was super cool because, you know, I don't always get to see people make every single one of these, and when I do, it's a joy. It's a lot of fun. This is another one of those pieces that's just one part. Here we go. This one, however, there was a lot going on there. Lord. Okay. So I think We're going to break this off right here. Let's see. Yep, get these vertical lines in there. Yeah, that looks great. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I think that this part as well can sort of be one. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I think it's just this side that needs to be one part. The rest of this can kind of be something else. That made sense, right? I definitely... what I was trying to say is that this side face here, like this along here, actually feels like the only part you need. You just make that out of like an 8mm sheet, and then it's thick enough to just be this whole part sitting on top here. And that construction is kind of easy to understand as well, which is something that we always want to be sort of mindful with whenever we are working on Pepakura. Speaking of which, we're working on the tutorial series. What do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to know about what I do? You've been learning Pepakura so you can remake Bass from Mega Man. Bass. Oh my god. No, that was the most dad thing I've ever done. Oh god. I'm so sad that I just did that. Ow. Like, it hurts. That's absolutely... Oh, God, I can't believe I did that. You almost me, but you really want it to look legit. I totally understand that. That's actually a big part of the reason I unfold the way that I do is because, on the one hand, there's a way of doing this where it works, it looks, it looks all right, and it's good. You've done 0 Cupid Foxstar Snake. Wow, you're really chugging along. Well done. Well done. It is not an easy thing to do. What's on the docket after the Mega Mans? What's next? I'm curious. There we go. Curious where you're going from that. Let's see this. Go across there. Great. Yep, okay. Break this across here. Oh, that didn't work at all. I meant that. There we go. Break that down here. Excellent. Perfection. Not really, but like it's some we're doing it. We're out here. Okay. No, don't do it like that. Do it like that. There we go. See, the computer understands me. There we go. Yeah, we'll call that broken up for this. Man, we're almost all the way through the 3D on this one. This is great. Should have stopped working on the torso and started working on the other stuff a long time ago, because, Lord, it was starting to kill me. Jasmine Dragon Quest 11? I don't know what that is. Oh god. Oh god, am I a Killjoy? Let's see. Dragon Quest 11. Okay, are you making the... Forgive me. You're making Jasper. Sorry. In which Jaden just clickety-clacks. Oh, cool! Like some fantasy medieval style armor. That's very, very fun. Oh, that chest piece is detailed. I am very much into that. Let's see here. All right, let's break up this shape here. I'm gonna break this up along the saddle lines here. I mean to say where the valley actually meets the rest of these pieces. There we go. Yep, and then that actually centers on these, so we're gonna separate these pieces as sort of raised bits that you would add on. Same here. Doop, doop, doop. The one thing that is a little rough about very detailed models like this is that sometimes these little parts start to look very, very angular, and it can be tempting to try to cut them out that way, but really you're meant to sort of smooth some of those shapes out, you know, very, very round circles or that. You know, I understand what you're saying, but that's a good feeling. The feeling of being a little out of your element here means that you're pushing yourself to learn new skills and to do new things. You know, in the name of that, it's really awesome to see and hear about people doing that. It's hard. Keep going. There's a reason these are like pseudo educational time bits that I do here, because this is really hard. And I think people don't give themselves enough credit for just kind of attacking this stuff, because it's hard. Is that sorry, I think I see a point. It's like jutted inward. Is that jutted inward or jutted outward? I'm having so much trouble seeing this point right here. Hang on. We're gonna switch it to shade so I can see if it's dipped in or not. It's not. It's virtually flat. I'm losing my mind. Okay, so that's I'm gonna ignore that then, because it's not something I need to worry about shape wise. But the rest of that is just working for me. Here we go. All right. It's another part that's basically one part, but it's like is it the entire edge of the god piece? I think that's what it is. Oh, it's so weird. Okay, here's all the belt packs, which we will attempt to do as quickly as possible. Or maybe I do one of them and just come back to the rest of it in the 2D. That seems like more fun. I don't really want to do it right now, so I won't. Okay, so let's see here. These templates at least aren't really gonna work for very functional ammo packs, but they should work to create like game accurate looking ammo packs. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to put something in it the way it's worked up right now, but you definitely could just build it as is and create something that looks shape wise, you know, correct, like the game. That's more what I'm going for right now, is being able to, you know, be the Slayer. That's what we all want, right? We want to be the Slayer. We want to be the Master Chief. We don't want to be Iron Man or a clone trooper. That's why we're here. There we go. Go up and up the top. I think actually in a rare twist, it will be easier to make this one piece rather than having a flap. Just make this one piece that you sort of bevel down and then glue on top of this. Just like that. And a rare twist. Okay. To get the front face of this. I'm also sort of using the texture to help guide where these lines should be, because obviously these are very rounded shapes. So that the edge, if you will, could be any number of steps here, but this texture is sort of implying to me that that's where the edge actually is, like the hard edge of the piece. Let's see. And to that end, let's do a similar thing with these. I think this, yeah, we'll just make this a separate part from the side. And if you choose to, instead of making this just out of really thick foam, if you choose to wrap this around, we will also include the edge piece. By breaking it there, it becomes one long band. And then this part in the back is really just one part. And that's going to be a little bit more challenging. Oh, good. And then the rest of it is all just one part. Oh, my God. Okay, so let's see. Actually, is there, I wonder, is this symmetrical enough for this to... No, it's not. That's okay. Sometimes you can use the symmetrical tool to help you just achieve those lines very quickly. There we go. So we'll kind of get this flap that goes on the edge here. Yeah, just like that. we'll go around one side. We'll kind of do one side. We'll do the middle bit, and then we'll start moving on to 2D just to manipulate this for a little bit, and then we'll talk shop about other stuff. Hey, glad to see more people on the stream. It's very exciting. I really like doing these streams. I have a lot of fun chatting with people about Pep and what they're doing. Thanks. I appreciate that you like the project so far. What you up to there, WinCon Gaming? What you been building lately? Building anything? Doing anything? What's the haps? What's the word? What's keeping you up at night? Let's see here. Split that down the middle. You know, it might actually make sense. Might actually make sense to include the entirety of this all the way across. Just this one piece that sort of goes around the whole thing. Yeah, like that. That's pretty good, actually. There we go. Looking into starting a project for Henchmen 21 and 23 from the event. Wait a second. I feel like I've seen this. Oh God. Henchmen 21 and 23. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I know these guys. That's fun. That's a good time. I helped a dude make somebody from this at one point. I can't remember who. It was a long time ago though. It was cool. I had a lot of fun. It's a fun art style. Honestly, cartoons are so much fun to make cosplay from because you have so much leeway. Like, sure, there's like a correct way to do at least some of the things. Like, surely at least some of these things have like a correct version. But there's also so much artistic latitude. Or 24. Yeah, no, I figured. But there's artistic latitude in cartoons that is just so much fun overall. It's one of the reasons I took on a small commission for some stuff from My Hero Academia from a friend of mine because it's just so much fun to work on that stuff. Now, I want to split this in the middle real quick. So Jaden's fun time trick for splitting things in the middle when there's a quad or like a split quad in the middle here, so you just divide this edge again. Like this. And you divide both of these edges, and now there's a line in the middle. I'm going to do it to the bottom too, just like this. Watch. Bam. 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 Split edges all around. Now, if I need to, I can separate this in the 2D and use that as an excuse to kind of widget together into one piece again. But in a more meaningful way than if I just actually connected the edges together. Okay, one more time here. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, I bid farewell to the port and the land, and I paddled away from brave England's white sands to seek for my long ago forgotten friends, to search for the place I hear all sailors end. Yeah. As the souls of the dead fill the space of my mind, I'll search without sleeping till peace I can find. I fear not the weather, I fear not the sea. I remember the fallen, do they think of me? Where the bones in the ocean forever will be. Which character from my... It was a couple different ones. I can double check. Because I'm in the middle of templating it, and God help me. It's hard. It's hard, I think, as a prop maker, especially as somebody who's trying to market themselves, you know, for a lot of different things. You know, I branch out into a lot of armor, but I do a lot of other small things. I do actual prop replicas. You can see... Actually, can you guys see that? I might be crazy. Yeah, you can. You can. Up there in the corner, that's actually a Hylian Shield that I made based on the Twilight Princess game, and that you know, there's a little bit of imposter syndrome that kind of creeps your way in because, you know, you're constantly making things from franchises and stuff that you don't know, and there's actually nothing wrong with that. Over time, I've become more chill about the fact that it's okay to not know every nerdy thing, because that's just not feasible. You know your things. But let me see, because I was chatting with her recently. There was a number of things for many different builds. Oh yeah, that was a fun noise, I'm sure. Shall we? Okay. Let's see here. Let me go here. It was a sword for Inuyasha. The head and hands piece for Jiro, I think his name is pronounced. And then the wrist launcher thing for Denki. I really hope I'm pronouncing those things correctly. Oh my god, here we go. Yeah, you can kind of see here. I'll just finish this part up because we've come this far, right? Right? We've come this far. Why not just finish it real quick? There we go. Besides, our hour's not even half up. By the way, sorry if the sound is like weird tonight because I've been trying to get my lapel mic to work and it's just, I'm having a hell of a time. Teething problems for mics are just, it's so real. And it's a bummer because I'm just trying to make the good stuff. I'm just trying to be here. I'm not trying to make it too complicated. Oh Lord. Okay, so here you can sort of see the way in which I sort of earmark certain parts in the 3D to break them down in the 2D. And you'll kind of see that reflected when we hit unfold here, which is not something I get to do every night. So here we go. You can see he left, DizK actually left the entirety of one half of this virtually untouched as like a single piece. So we're going to see what we end up doing with that once we get into the rest of this. Now, let's go ahead, open up the 2D window a little bit here. Here's where things start to get a little messy. We'll close this down. We're going to click Unfold. We're going to make this a little taller. I'm going to say this is probably about 10.5 inches tall. That is crude measurement scaling's time. So just bear with me here. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Let's see. I mean, I was just working on it. We can definitely take a look at this. Now, this looks a little jumbled until you start taking a look at those parts again. We're going to show that object list. We're going to clear. Let's go back to the top. So we got this one piece here. Let's see that one piece. Aha, not so random now, is that? Is it? Ah! Here we go. And now, after just a little bit of tweaking, because you can see it's doing its best to try to honor the fact that I told it to make the whole thing, you know, one part. But now, after just a little bit of tweaking, you can see how this is already starting to form the shape that we want the final thing to take the form of. There we go. Yep, that's good there. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Bum 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 ba-da-dum dum dum da-dum. Now is that H? Is that what that does? Oh, Control J I guess resets the view. My bad. I didn't realize. The more you know. Okay, so now what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna try to see if there's a place where I can kind of smush some of these parts back together a little bit. Because boy, oh boy, is that, yeah, I can see that gap's pretty intense. Might just even it out there and call it a day. In fact, if I move that there and click 2D menu, join adjacent edges, we'll just test this. Hey, that's actually pretty good. And yeah, obviously the texture is getting stretched out kind of funny, but if I remove that, you can kind of see that the overall shape is still preserved. Oh, I almost wonder if I was mistaken to keep any part of this very outermost round of polygons. In fact, if I remove them all, how does the shape look overall? Because then you could just bevel it outward when you're cutting this out. In fact, yeah, that actually looks way better. And when I go to join adjacent edges now, oh, that's way better. Yeah, we'll leave it here. It's all about making some decisions. So now that we've got this guy, and actually I'll grab the rest of this right here, that right here. Those parts we don't really need. We'll set this over here with that right here. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, this is that part I said I was going to delete. I might still delete it. I'll wait to delete it for now. This is that part that's broken. We will definitely be deleting that. Here we go. And there's the rest of this one. Which again, once you sort of see it, once you see what the computer's doing with it, once you get it out of there, you can see you're actually pretty close. Like the 3D work we do actually helps define these shapes really quickly. Oh god, that would actually be very silly and very on brand for the Fourth Doctor. Yeah, I feel like I'm not crazy in saying that. Like a foam. I don't know. I've always wanted to do some stuff from Doctor Who, but I feel like I've never had a solid prop for it. I've seen too many people do the Cybermen to be super jazzed about it, but like maybe I'm just being pessimistic. Maybe I'd really, really love it. Oh god, am I a killjoy? Oh god. Okay, here we go. And see how the jumble of polygons right here slowly starts to turn into something more meaningful as we just abandon sanity and say, yeah, I mean, that's sort of. Here we go. Okay, okay, I gotta see where I can sort of jam this together again, because this wants to actually curve away from itself, and that's not what we want. We need to push those parts together. Okay. We will check on that in a moment. Let's split that in the middle, as close to the middle as we can, so we can even out these darts along this very straightforward shape. Like, this is not a hard shape to work out. We just want to make sure that we're not missing any parts as we go along, and that we're not letting anything get out of the hands there. There we go. Sometimes we gotta do stuff just for the memes. Like, we might take a break from Doom next week just to work on some more Star Wars stuff, because I have been playing a ton of Republic Commando, and I am just so jazzed with it again, and I'm like, the little kid in me really wants to do some more Republic Commando stuff. And we're nearly done with some Havoc Trooper armor, actually, which I believe is from the Old Republic. That was actually suggested over on our Discord, where we have been just kind of going along with that stuff. Oh, speaking of which, if you haven't checked out the Discord, check out the Discord. Check out the Discord, because you know, there's a lot of fun stuff over there, and there's a lot of other fun builders over there. If you like talking shop about, you know, making cosplay and doing stuff, that's a good place to be. Okay, how do I sort of zoop this together? What am I missing? There is a way, I'm certain of it. But what happens if I just, abandon all hope? Oh, God, what? What is that? That's garbage. Oh my god. Okay, so that's actually not the worst. I just really don't like how far apart this gap is. And I feel like there's not a ton of great ways to fix that. So okay, so that gap's still pretty excessive right there. What happens if I go like this? That's a little better, I think. And then, dear reader, we kind of fixed it. Okay, yeah. Okay, what happens now? How do the lines look? That's pretty good. we're just trying to keep everything sort of close to where it should be in relation to the part. So then those lines line up really well. Yes! There we go. Yeah, I'm going to call that good. Look at that. And we got another whole part right here. And we can grab all these little bits and bobs and say, hey, we didn't need those. Don't need that at all. Just get rid of it. We'll just move it over here. In the meantime, we got these 2 plates. Look at these plates. Collector's plates. That's because Republic Commando is the best Star Wars game. You change my mind in hell. I really love Republic Commando. I've wanted them to make a sequel to it for so long. And it's so hard to explain why, because it could be that it was like the first time I got to play like a semi-violent video game. It could just be that I really enjoy Star Wars, but I think it's just something about, you know, a military Star Wars game, like an actual military Star Wars game, not just Republic Commando where it's like a battle game, but like Republic Commando is dark. It's kind of upsetting. Oh, I did it again. There we go. It's just a really fun concept. Plus, all the characters are just big beefy boys, and God bless the big beefy boys, man. Here we go. See, this is the problem child right here, though, where we're just missing a polygon right there, so there's nothing for this to actually stick onto. So we will. I don't know. I could always. Okay, this sounds a little dumb, but this does still connect there. So if this is actually not a terrible joined edge here, I could just ignore the fact that it's not there. Like I could, like that's not bad actually. If I were to join this like this and then just erase the inner part of that, I mean, who cares, right? It's true. It's true. But in the case of Republic Commando, I feel like there's actually space for the story to go because it just kind of ends. You know, like somebody dies, I won't say who, and then, you know, you're just kind of where you are in the story of the Clone Wars. And it's just over. And I don't mean to say it's over and that the story is done. I mean to say that like, it's very much not. It just kind of happens. Okay. Let's check this out real quick here, because I think this is joining a little funny. Yeah, see that right there? It's like an edge, a funky edge there that's missing. It just sort of ends. Actually, I think part of the reason it just sort of ends is it just sort of starts. No, I don't think we need that. I think if I grab this and grab that and get rid of that as part of the stuff nobody needs. Nobody needs that. But this part can all just sort of be one part. And there's a lot of big squiggly parts in this build that, I mean, you could make an argument this isn't actually simplifying it that much. I would argue that it is. It's just a very complicated shape. Here we go. This is a challenge build. And if anybody's trying to approach it as not going to be like a challenge build, you might want to start with something else. That's okay. No shame in building just to build the thing and grow some skill. Okay, that seems to not... Okay, there we go. I was going to say, because we want that edge to be as close to that as possible, so that when I go join adjacent edges... Yeah, that's pretty good. Oop, and then this right here... There we go. Just kind of join those edges. Great! Next part. What is this? Oh, this is another one of those parts that's basically one piece. Here we go. We'll grab all of that, move it all down here, and just rework it until it is truly all one piece. You know what would be a true feat and actually might be very useful? Now that I think about it. Oh no, I created more work for myself. Oh god. Okay, so... You can see how on the actual model, this point right there sort of touches that point. And I bet that if I disjoined this and then went through and grab that, yep, so now if I go Control R to get the rotation tool here, so we'll grab that right here, grab this right here, Bop. So this point and this point, make them vertical. Oh god, it's very close. I wonder if I think actually if I put this back that way, now when I do this, it should work. Oh man, that is almost perfect. And all it creates is a little gap right there. But instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to hit Control G, and then they become one part. But first, we're going to finish unfolding the rest of this. Bam! Cheated. On the 4th of July, 1806, we set sail from the sweet cove of Cork. We were sailing away with a cargo of bricks for the Grand City Hall in New York. Such a wonderful craft, she was rigged fore and aft, and oh how the wild winds drove her. She stood several blasts, she had 27 masts, and they called her the Irish Rover. We had 1 million bags of the best slag of rags. We had 2 million barrels of stone. We had 3 million sides of a blind horse's hides. We had 4 million barrels of bone. We had 5 million hogs, 6 million dogs, 7 million barrels of porter. We had 8 million bales of old nanny goats' tails in the hold of the Irish Rover. There was old Mickey Coot, who played hard on his flute, and the ladies lined up for a set. He went tootling with skill for each sparkling quadrille, though the dancers were fluttered and bent. With his sharp witty talk he was cock of the walk, and he rolled the names under and over. They all knew at a glance when he took up his stance that he sailed in the Irish Rover. Oh, there we go. I'm not going to do this part right now because I don't want to. So we're just going to ignore that for the moment because we've made so much progress. I kind of just wanted to keep making progress and not nitpick because this looks really cool. We've done a lot of really good work. Okay, so we got the top part here, which sort of becomes one part along there. And then we've got the parts that are just missing right here, and then there's this guy. Where is he? There he is. Got that guy right there. It's virtually done, you know, like, I'm basically done here. I'm basically done. These parts are done. He's finished. I did a good job. Oh man. Okay. What's next? Sorry, I'm just rolling off of this serious win right here, and this stuff is just gonna be a nightmare. God, this edge part is a lot. We're gonna select all again, and I just want to see. Yeah, so this is just an edge piece that goes all the way around this. And I kind of think that this is not a necessary part. Oh, that's totally reasonable. Is there anything in particular that I've done recently that's a little hard to see? No, what I basically did here was just I'm just looking at the object list up here. But let's see here. This is basically, I don't actually select a lot in the File tab. I usually am I don't really do anything in the File tab. I'll say that. That's also why I try to yada yada about what it is the tool that I'm grabbing most of the time. Let's see this. So this is all sort of one piece that goes all the way around this, and I am going to make an executive decision and say that it's not a useful part for foam building, and we're going to put it all the way over here. We're just going to do away with it because I don't care. Okay, and then we got all of the other side. These are all of those. Okay, clear. And we'll just start working on some of the bag stuff. This is also part of the reason that I really want to do the tutorial, is because I want to be able to go through and basically explain what every single one of these things is. And that's just not a fun live stream. It's a very boring live stream that takes a while. It's a class lecture is what it is, really. But that's not fun. It's not a fun thing to do a whole lot. At least not every Tuesday. Not every Tuesday, just like some of the Tuesdays. Okay, so here we go. So this part, these polygons right there. Yeah, that's great. This keys into that there. This goes around the whole edge. That looks a little funky, actually. I think I've made an error here, because I think this should actually go right here. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a little... Oh, no, that's what it is. It should go here. Doi. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. It goes over the top, and this piece right here. Ta-da! Man, he didn't need much work at all. That's great. Yeah, there we go. This is like one of the bags. Look at that. Super easy there. Like, yeah, it's some parts, but like they're pretty clean parts. Actually, to that end, this part doesn't need much work at all. I'm basically just gonna run this circle around the edge of the interface here. There we go. If I join that 2D menu, join adjacent edges, max the threshold out, yeah, that looks great. There we go. There's that. And then there should be just one piece, if I did my work correctly. Yes, one very clean piece that just goes all the way around that. You can even see where it sort of hooks together there. That's great. Sorry. I love it when things just work. God, I love it when I don't have to make things work. I love it when they just work. Here's one kind of principle that I think is very easy to sort of get lost in all this, which is that if you're ever unsure that something is going to just lay flat when you're moving from 3D to 2D, if you follow it sort of like a snake along the 3D, and you see that at no point do any more than one edge at a time join, it will lay as a perfectly flat piece. To wit, this thing, even though it gets thicker in the middle here, you can sort of see line to line to line, only one face is joined at any given point, so it becomes one point all the way across. Now, here's one thing that is going to kind of suck, which is that I thought maybe this would be a little more joined together this way, but actually it splays all the way out. So we might just have to live with that as a part. But that's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top in June. I said that's life, that's life. That is funny as it seems. Some people get their kicks just from stomping on a dream. But if I don't ask, come this here July, I get right up on a big bird, and then I'll fly. I've been a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, And I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life, that's life. And as funny as it seems, those people get their kicks stomping on a dream. Oh man, you know what? I actually feel really good about stopping here, because if you'll see, we select all. This is everything we've unfolded. Everything in the red. We virtually unfolded this thing. This thing looks great. Reinhardt's Guan Yu skin. Now see, this is very interesting, because Reinhardt is Overwatch, I think, right? But I know Guan Yu from Smite. Is there like a crossover skin? Hang on. Now I gotta look at this. Yeah, there's like a Guan. It's Guan. When did this get released? It was back in 2019. So they did a Guan Yu skin for the character Reinhardt. That's fun. I appreciate that a lot, actually. Is this an homage to Smite? Or is this just an homage to Guan Yu? Because, like, Guan Yu exists out... So that's one of the things about Smite. Smite that's very, very fun. You know, it's all mythology, but... That's very interesting. Yeah, I believe it. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, that's super detailed. I think the big thing about that is really how big it is. You know, whenever you're doing a project that's just larger, it's going to take more time. You know, we'll save this. We're going to save this where it's at right now. Instead, talk a little bit about our upcoming tutorial. Pick for attention. Coming up soon here, we are doing some tutorials. I am in the process of finishing writing a fairly lengthy opening for this. But one of the things that I want to do is kind of walk through the process of doing Pepakura in many, many different ways. Hey, you know Austin? That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I would say it's a Smite ripoff, but I'd also say when there's that many online games like this, it really is kind of an homage to each other at that point. So there's that. We are in the middle of pulling together assets for the Pepakura tutorial. This is one of them. This is actually a test unfold I did of this Republic Commando helmet, not just because I love Republic Commando and I've been playing a lot of it, but also because this is a great helmet to talk about different things, from very rounded dome shapes that I like to build, as well as very intense angles and what makes a good angle in that build. But to that end, I've actually got a bunch of other stuff in the works. I've also got this Iron Man shoulder bell, which has some great texture. It's got some great details, but it's a great example of how you can take very complicated round shapes and really reduce them into simplistic overall forms that turn into really good foam pieces. That's another aspect of these builds, is I'd really like to make at least some of them on the back end. So on the front end, we're looking at how to make templates, how 3D model work, how 3D models interact in Pepakura, as well as what makes them easy to work with. As well as looking at the back end of, how do you then take that knowledge and turn it into something real, something concrete. So I've got this shoulder bell, I've got that. I've also got some more simple shapes. Pepakura does actually come with a cube. And so we have a cube. And the thing I love about this is that there's a ton of different ways, to unfold a cube. This is a 2-piece cube. Now it's a 1-piece cube. And now it's a 1-piece cube. And now it's a 1-piece cube, and I guess that's technically the same thing. But here, now it's another way to do that. Or there's this guy right here. This is also a cube. And that's one thing that I think people get really mixed up about in terms of folding and unfolding a 3D object, is sort of deciding where are the lines, what's real, what's not. In fact, if I were to reduce this down, you could sort of start to see how there's only a snake of edges going along here all the way around to there. And then that's all the edges there are on this piece. You know, all the cut line edges, if you will. And that's just something I really want to get into and sort of dig into the nitty-gritty. We talk a little bit about topology, actually. I get a little scientific. I'm going to talk about scaling and things like that. But I want to know, what are you guys looking for? What would really help you guys? Not just like which model necessarily. Like if there is a model you'd really like me to show, or if you'd like to show me, or if you'd like me to show like what's a model that would be terrible to try and work with. I can try and find examples of that, or ways to rip models from 3D print files, really try to jury rig it together. I want to know what you guys think would be really cool. No, I don't want to say that. I've also got a sphere because, you know, you got flat shapes, you got round shapes. These are all easy things to work out. And it's all possible to do, you know, in Pepakura, and with very limited resources. Like, this is not the most dynamite computer. It's a fairly nice camera, but like this isn't rocket science. It's attainable. It's a free program, and even if you want to pay for the paid version, it's like $38 once, never again. It's not Adobe. It's pretty open. So I mean, if there's things that you guys want to see, please let me know in the comments, or check us out over on Discord. Hit me up, please. This is you know, this is a big thing for me, and I'm really excited to try and you know, make it happen. At any rate, I thought we could round out the night just showing off. I've been working on some Havoc Trooper files, which I'm really excited about. I think they've turned out very, very nicely. They were modeled by Rundown, a lot of it. I've done a little tweaking here and there, a little bit of remodeling, not a ton, but a lot of re-unfolding to try and deliver these. These are going to hit my Patreon pretty soon here, and then they're going to hit the Discord and, you know, the general public. But I thought I could just tease these to you guys. So we got, the ever impressive upper arm. Very exciting. There's some of these are more interesting than others. Like, I really like the way this shin turned out. This is a symmetrical shin, but you can see the way that all of these things are actually supposed to sort of fit together pretty easily, and I'm quite happy with the way the overall shape of the templates looks. I can see them going together pretty easily. To that end, I've also got, you know, two different shoulders, because the Havoc Trooper's got like one really rounded shoulder that you can see I've done some remodeling on, as well as the left shoulder, which is a lot more plate structure. You know, still kind of talking about that sphere versus cube thing. LOL. Awesome, yeah. Hell yeah. But this stuff is, you know, it's going to be hitting the Patreon probably tomorrow. I'm really happy with the way they've sort of turned out, because they're easy files. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. You can see, like, even if I start, you know, widening out to the chest, if I click on one of these parts, it's pretty clear how it goes together. Like, that's not at all. Oh no, actually, I'm just realizing that I forgot to erase a line right there. That's okay. Save that. It's pretty straightforward how these parts go together. You can actually see the lines where they line up, the 2D versus the 3D. And of course, it's got a lot of detail baked in there. And then the pièce de résistance, we have, it's a really nice helmet model. I actually really like the way the Havoc Trooper helmet looks. It's very unique, but I still like read the Trooper in there. And this one happens to have a pretty nice texture that helps me, at least, see where to put all those paint colors. So I'm really excited. I'm probably going to add this helmet to the Trooper buckets, but the armor's going to Patreon. Speaking of which, before we wrap up, I would be absolutely remiss if I did not mention our patrons. I really value the patrons because, you know, they help me do little things here and there, shop improvements, and frankly, just everything you see behind them is, to some degree or another, they're doing. And so to that end, Benjamin, Laura, Ruben, Matt G, Jennifer Zayer, Pan Dulce, K Snake, and of course Austin of AJ Plays Piano. I want to thank you all so much for joining in. This has been great. What a nice stream it's been tonight. Check back for more next week. More builds this week. We're probably going to be finishing up, or at least continuing, on some of the Mortal Kombat stuff we've been working on. But yeah, this has been a wonderful stream. Thanks for showing up, everybody. As always, take care.